This is 8.5, subtracting rational numbers. To subtract rational numbers, use the same rules we used for subtracting integers. So if I have 1/5 minus a negative 3/5, I'm going to add the opposite here, so I get 4/5. Remember, to add fractions, they must have a common denominator. So if we do 3 1/4 minus 2/5, 3 1/4, I'm going to change that to an improper fraction first. Then I'm going to add the opposite. To do that, I have to have common denominators. And so I multiply the second fraction by 4, the first fraction each by 5. So this is negative 65 over 20 plus a negative 8 over 20, which is negative 73 over 20. If I add 2/3 minus 2/3 minus a negative 2/3, that will be adding the opposite, which gives 4/3. 4 minus 5 1/2 would be 5 1/2 rewritten is going to be 11 over 2. I need common denominators, so that's 8/2 minus 11/2, which is negative 3/2. 3.7 minus 5.6, I'm going to add the opposite, which means they have different signs, so I'm going to subtract, and the answer has the same sign as the larger absolute value. Negative 2.1 minus 3.9, add the opposite. These have the same signs, so you add their absolute values, and the answer is negative. This one here, I have 3 terms that I am combining. So I'm going to rewrite 2 as a fraction, rewrite 1 3/5 as an improper fraction, and then I'm going to convert so they all have a common denominator. So that is going to be negative 10/5 minus 2/5 plus 8/5. To do the first two, negative 10 minus 2 is going to be negative 12. So that's negative 12/5 plus 8/5, which is 12 minus 8, which is 4, but the 12 was negative, so it's negative 4, so it's negative 4/5. The distance between any two numbers on a number line is the absolute value of the difference of the numbers. So I would find the absolute value of p minus q, or I could do the absolute value of q minus p. So if I try that with numbers, the distance between negative 3 and 4 is going to be the absolute value of negative 3 minus 4, or the absolute value of 4 minus negative 3. So I'm going to add the opposite. They have the same sign, so I add. So that's going to be 7. They're originally negative, so the absolute value of negative 7 is 7. Or I can just do 4 minus negative 3, which also gives the absolute value of 7. So let's find the distance on a number line between negative 7.5 and negative 15.3. So I'm going to take the absolute value of the difference, and so that is negative 15 plus 7.5. So I'm going to find that difference, and it is the absolute value of negative 7.8, which is 7.8. And now the difference, or the distance, between 1/3 and 2 1/6. Absolute value of the difference. So converting 2 1/6 to an improper fraction, then I'm going to subtract with a common denominator, add the opposite. So 2 1/6 plus negative 13 over 6. 13 minus 2 was 11, but it was a negative 13. So this is negative 11 over 6. Absolute value is 11 over 6.